The first round of the ARC Ferrari Challenge. We have a race at Monza for the first round. This is a new series for ARC, and I believe the rules are something along the lines of like half-hour races, no pit stops, no, not even like tire wear, fuel usage, just a 30-minute sprint race. And of course we are starting with the qualifying session for the first 10 minutes. Everyone here is in a spec Ferrari 488 GT style car. As I'm currently trying to share the stream to like the Discord for ARC. We have a lot of pit lane violations. Okay, Colton has been disqualified before he's even started. That's impressive. YouTube is being bad. There we go. Don't recommend channel. Don't recommend my own channel. Yeah, okay. There's nothing really happening. Just a bunch of outlaps at the moment, so... I'll bring up the map, I think. Yeah, we'll do that. No, not that. Just that. Just the map. First person that's going to be starting his lap is... I believe that's Liam O'Neill. Yes. I forgot the things on top of the screen. I haven't done this in a while. Alright, the stream is shared, and Liam is beginning the first lap of the Project Cars 2 season in ARC. First qualifying lap, anyway. Bit of that British internet making things look kind of weird, but I'm just gonna roll with it. Behind him, I'm not sure who that is. There's just a giant conga line of cars at the northern point of the racetrack. Travis and just ended up getting out of Liam's way because he's not on a lap yet. Liam very loose entering Ascari. If someone's getting on the track, right. This game's weird like that. I don't actually know what cameras to use. I think I'll go back and forth as much as I can, but I think I'd prefer to use chase cam more often because it gives me a better idea of what's going on. The first lap put up of the day, it's a 49 flat. Keenan Kimber is only running second, and he's got a 51.3. I don't know what order anyone's going here, so... That's an outlap. Third on the board, Seth Rawls making his ARC return after quite a few seasons of absence. Oh, Connor Hannick is having some problems with his internet. Andrew Knickel enters the board, and he runs third fastest with a 51.42. Some unique interpretations of track limits are going on, I was watching. As I believe Jake Scarborough is coming around to complete his lap. I think this is a flying lap. I'm not sure. It doesn't tell me. No, I don't think it was. And then we have Matthew Schatz, who is on a lap, and he runs only 7/10 off of Liam O'Neill, who's about to make his own next lap, which is not faster. Trying to remember who in my head was the second person to make a lap. This is really confusing because there's no way of denoting who's who on this list. Whoa, Keenan jumps the curb a lot there. I was never actually told this person's name. The 102 car, which looks kind of like a casual car, runs third. Keenan Kimber with more exiting the track and such. AJ coming down the main straightaway, looking to improve a lot on that lap time. He does not that. The 102 car is currently up on his lap time. I feel like I'm an EA Sports commentator now, like for the old NASCAR games. I can't imagine Keenan Kimber is up on his lap currently, considering I saw him make a couple of mistakes on this run, but we'll see anyway. Directly behind him is someone. Some person on the racetrack. I don't know who it is. And here comes Matthew Stotts for his next lap. Not an improvement. I believe the track temperature is probably pretty high, so tires don't last too long. Liam O'Neill improves by a couple of tenths, as if he didn't already have the pole, and now he's got it by an entire second. It was probably Jake Scarborough behind. Yeah, he was the one behind Keenan, and I think using that tow from his car, he managed to improve to 5th on the board with a 51.39. Just barely coming up short of Keenan, who is almost a half a second faster at the moment. If he nails this lap, he wouldn't really improve on the leaderboard, but he would make pretty good distance on the ones behind him on the leaderboard. And I think it's all gone as he goes wide out of the second Lesmo corner, and that's going to hamper him down the straightaway pretty bad. I'm going to turn the speedometer on him. Do that. More information. I really like that 97 car a lot, though. Oh, and we have Liam pushing his limits too hard, trying to flex another faster lap time, and he's going to visit the sand trap for a moment. Someone in a yellow car behind him did a similar thing. As Keenan Kimber and Jake Scarborough, and I think Matthew Stotts with them as well. Yeah, he is. So they'll all be completing their next laps. This will be starting their last lap. Keenan improved anyway, gaining almost an entire second. Matthew Stotts sets the current pole time, the 48.64. Just when I thought it was all said and done, Matthew Stotts comes out of literally nowhere and gains 3 whole seconds on his previous lap, it seems like. Jake Scarborough did not improve despite following 2 of the faster laps just there. Keenan jumps to the inside curb on the second chicane, and that's going to cost him pretty dearly. Checking with Liam O'Neill, who has started his final lap, as is obviously everybody else. He'll have this chance if he wants to take pullback. To go on board with him during his final hot lap here. He only needs to gain about a tenth to make it the new pole lap. At least right now. Matthew Stotts may improve, but I mean that can't be Liam's concern. He needs to be concerned with beating what's set there right now. And he's not going any faster, he's 3/10 down. So unless we've got some unknown challengers, perhaps Keenan Kimber, as he heads down the front straight for his final time. He does not improve. Jake Scarborough abandoned his lap time. I do not think AJ Knickel's on a lap. No, there's no way. Zachary DeWittowicz crosses the line. He improves greatly to 6th on the table, and that is the session. So we have Matthew Stotts and Liam O'Neill on the front row, the 102 car and Keenan Kimber on the second row, Travis Van Oostendorp, Zachary DeWittowicz on the third row, and then Jake Scarborough, AJ Knickel, Seth Rawls, I believe that's Dylan Hudson in 10th. Okay, we're moving on. Connor Hannick starting 11th. Colton Irving, Sean Cosley, and Julian Lozano all starting at the back after getting disqualified from the qualifying session. Okay. I guess this isn't doing anything right now because we're not in the race. Weird. Turn on everything. Oh, those worked. So yeah, it's a half an hour event. There'll be no pit stops unless somebody wrecks their car. We have a 14-car race for the start of the Project Cars 2 season. I believe it is a 7-race schedule. 7 or 8. And all things go well, I should be here to bring you all of the action from all 7 of those races. The very loud red lights, and we are green at Monza. Matthew Stotts gets a way better jump. Actually, just Liam O'Neill didn't get a good one at all. He's also been overtaken by the 102 car, and by Travis Van Oostendorp, who had a real good start. He's up to, he's braking early, so he'll be back down, but he's also, everyone is getting all argy-bargy in turn 1, as that's classic Monza for you. Now I'm going to attempt to make sense of what all that was. This is still doing nothing. So, Travis Van Oostendorp is going to go for the lead on Liam O'Neill, as I'm still trying to figure out how to get this stuff off my screen. I don't think I literally can. Liam O'Neill in the gravel, so Travis Van Oostendorp may inherit the lead here. And he's going to take... Oh, Liam gives him a little bumper. But he is going to take the lead anyway. Keenan Kimber running 4th. I don't remember where exactly he qualified, but he's up for sure. AJ Knickel running 5th, following this lead pack, as we have the 102 car getting very loose and off the track, going through Variante Ascari. Oh, a big hit. Jake Scarborough hard into the wall. He's going to have to wait a minute before he can rejoin the course. Now I think he should be free to accelerate. Oh, he wasn't. Dylan Hudson also went for a loop. As we return now to the lead, or the front pack. The mistake from the 102 car has put Keenan Kimber on the podium positions. And it's a slipstream fest down the main straightaway. Liam O'Neill looking for a move to reclaim his original lead that he had from turn 2 onwards. They're going to go fender to fender into the first chicane. And Travis with a unique racing line. I don't know if we're going to allow that one. He had no reason to do that. That's not allowed, but Liam O'Neill does not care and will take the lead away from him either way. Keenan Kimber is going to follow him through, I believe, or try his best. But does not brake late enough to make the place up. He's going to dive in the middle of the chicane, but nothing. Meanwhile, AJ has been re-overtaken by the 102 car, and he's back down to 5th place. It's the one name I didn't get, because this guy was a late entry that joined the lobby like a moment before the race began. So I never caught his name. Now things are starting to get pretty single file here. The closest cars to each other are the 2 leaders, as I can tell anyway. We do have some cars still on the front straightaway, the front half of the track. And the cars that took big hits early on in the race. Joe Lozano off, exiting the Ascari S's chicane thing. Matthew Stotts, after a terrible first lap, is going to move himself up into 9th following a mistake from Cosley. Seth Rawls looking for a move on Colton Irving, one of the original ARC drivers versus one of the newest ARC drivers as they head towards turn 1. They bang doors, but Colton Irving cuts across the chicane again and retains 6th place. I saw the splits getting real close between Liam and Van Oostendorp. Van Oostendorp has actually retaken the lead for now. Liam cutting off Keenan Kimber, who wanted to have a go at this little conflict here. Liam O'Neill on the inside through the Lesmo is not the place I particularly choose to pass somebody, but he's made it work. A mistake from Van Oostendorp could have left Keenan Kimber with an opportunity, but he did not react in time to move over. Seth Rawls, through whatever means, has seized 6th place away from Colton Irving. But he's got quite a ways to go if he's going to catch anybody else from here. He's got about 5 seconds almost to catch AJ Knickel, who has almost just missed the Ascari section. Dylan Hudson is maybe retiring for the day or just trying to get out of the way. I'm not quite sure. No, I think he's trying to go. He's just trying to wait for all the other cars to lap him first. As we return to the battle for the top 3 spots. And Oostendorp right on his diffuser. Needs any amount of vulnerability detected, and he can make a dive into, well, pretty much any of the corners of this track. Mod just kind of built that way. Passive on the brakes. All 3 drivers. Keenan hitting that inside sausage curb. You'll pay for that eventually if you keep doing that. Monza usually has its way with things like that. The Widow Witch was getting close to Colton Irving. A little mistake exiting the second chicanes lost him some time, but Colton Irving's wide in the first Lesmo. This is precisely the moment that Zachary needed. Around the outside, that is... Actually, I don't know if Colton let him have that, but either way, that looks smooth. Following a mistake, I assume, from the 102 car, Seth has done what I said he had a lot of effort to go through to do. He's caught 5th place. The 102 car. But the 102 car is more confident through the Scary section. It'll make it harder for Seth Rawls to gain any ground here. I think maybe a move had gone wrong or something for Travis Van Oostendorp, who has fallen behind Liam O'Neill and Keenan Kimber. And now I know these two drivers, they got a little more than just, they got a bit of pride on the line between these two competitors. They've got kind of like one of those like weird rivalries of just like, I don't even know how to describe it. But they'll certainly be getting competitive at the front if Keenan Kimber ever makes his way there to him. Seth Rawls has lost the plot on the 102 car. And, yeah, it's all pretty spread out. Dylan Hudson is done for the day. Saw Connor Hannick left earlier as well. Matthew Stotts is verging on the territory of Colton Irving. It's just about a second back as he's running pretty fast lap times, judging by that lap delta anyway. Use this to look at the previous laps from each driver. Stotts had caught 6/10 on Colton Irving in that previous lap. And the really good chicane for him is going to put him almost in striking distance on... almost said the Ferrari driver, that makes no sense. Meanwhile, back at the front, I wasn't even paying attention. I think a mistake came from Keenan Kimber, and that's allowed Travis Van Oostendorp to claim second again. And hopefully we'll see this battle continue to heat up over the next few laps, assuming we have no additional mistakes from either of them. It's a contest of slipstream, but Keenan nowhere even close to Van Oostendorp to make any attempt at a pass. Keenan did get a marginally better run out of the Scary, but it's not going to really ultimately matter. You got to get it good out of this next turn if you want a shot at him. But has not been the case. Actually, no, it's not. Now looking back in the mid to lower part of the pack, not really getting much closer between these two, nor between these two with Zachary and Seth. And Seth Rawls has totally lost the plot now of anybody else that was in front of him. The early race mistakes have been mostly eliminated. Everyone seems to have gotten pretty used to the vehicles by this point. And we're not getting the same dramatic mistakes that we'd been having the first, like, 5-6 minutes of the event. Liam O'Neill is just cruising up here. He's the only driver that ran a minute 49 lap in the last lap. So he's dominantly faster than everybody else at the moment. Keenan Kimber still pretty close to Travis. Travis with a bit of a poor run through Variante Ascari. But it doesn't ultimately matter, because Keenan didn't get the greatest exit himself. So they're going to be another dead heat as they reach the last turn of this lap. I couldn't really tell you which of these two drivers is the fastest, because they seem to be about dead even on pace. AJ distantly staring at this fight. At some point in the recent past, Matthew Stotts overtook Colton Irving to take 8th place away. And he could see Zachary and Seth fighting in the distance. Seth Rawls had another mistake, and that's allowed Zachary to insert himself into the equation. And Zach just about tags Rawls, finds himself in the gravel trap. And there's an opportunity for Stotts to possibly take 7th away as well. They're gonna go door to door, just about, through Curva Grande, or Big Corner, not kidding. Zachary not leaving the most real estate, but Matthew Stotts does not care. He will take the place away anyhow. And he will go after the elder statesman of ARC, Seth Rawls, who just did a little bit of sand digging there. It's still relatively competitive between 2nd and 3rd here. Keenan running the lap time of his life there. He's up 5/10 on what I assume to be his personal best of the event. I think that's what that means anyway. DeWittowicz not quite ready to give up, but I don't think that corner exit's left him much choice. Ascari has proven to be a real thorn at everyone's side this evening, as it so often does, especially for the unengaged driver. The gaps are once again stabilizing. There's not many drivers near each other right now. Keenan Kimber, I believe, is slowly losing the plot. Oh, Zachary broke very aggressively and just about manhandled Matthew Stotts as a result. He's forced to take to the escape road just to not drive straight through him. It's still pretty evenly contested. I think Van Oostendorp is beginning to establish a little bit of an advantage here, but nothing that totally takes Keenan out of the equation just yet. At first I was thinking to myself, well, I think Van Oostendorp's running lower downforce. No, that's physically not possible, because everybody's running the same setup. It's a spec series record. These two battling have also begun to catch up to Liam O'Neill, who either made a mistake or has begun to kind of let his foot off the gas a little. No immediate threat, but a couple more laps that these guys have been having, these guys have been pushing themselves to their edges. And that can either end up in a disastrous crash, or a three-way battle for the win as we've passed the halfway mark of the event. Matthew Stotts is making his way back towards Seth Rawls. Short trip back to about 20 minutes ago, Matthew Stotts was your pulse leader of the race, but a disastrous first lap has seemed to leave him a little bit dazed and confused, and he's had an interesting journey making his way back up to where he began. Sean Cosley way off track, and that's given Jake Scarborough back 10th position. But I don't really know, barring incredible circumstance, if Jake Scarborough can really get any further up the grid right now. He'd have to catch 40 seconds to reach the next car in 12 and a half minutes. Ultimately, that's like 7 laps. These two still neck and neck, pretty much. Keenan Kimber unable to find the opportunity, but he's putting a lot of pressure on him as we see somebody who's parked off to the side there. That would be Lozano, who seems to have a lot of damage to his car after a spin out of the Lesmos. I don't know if that's really a safe location, and he doesn't seem intent on moving. I mean, he's off the track, yeah, but not by much. But I guess if we're not calling that a yellow, it's not a yellow. The headlights in full effect for the drivers behind Liam O'Neill. Oh, Travis locks the brakes, and there is precisely what Keenan Kimber needed. And he will move himself back into second once more. If he had lost much more time, he'd have been in the clutches of AJ Knickel as well. Luckily for him, that wasn't the case. I believe an earlier mistake from Matthew Stotts has given Zachary Dawidowicz back his position in 7th. And Colton Irving's gotten awfully close to him too. Must have been a pretty critical error, as the 102 car is pitting in for unknown reasons. You don't have to do that in this race. So he must have damaged his car somewhere along the way. Another poor moment for Van Nistendorp. He's going to have to deal with AJ now in a moment. A bit of a rough exit of that chicane has given Matthew Stotts a bit of an advantage over Zachary, but not really critical depth just yet for him. Everyone taking unique exits of his car right now. They're basically just spitting on its grave at this point. The corner, not Alberto's grave. Obviously they're not doing that. Keenan, I hope you're not resting too much there, because you've still got a couple of angry Hornets in your rearview mirror. And they're getting awfully close to you. We're gonna have a 3-way fight in a moment, I feel. Unless something goes wrong for these two as they head into the chicanes. Travis is really gonna dive it from there. No, he thinks better of it. Both out-braking themselves, probably paranoid of what the others are gonna end up doing, and AJ Knickel will find himself in a pretty solid place now, as he'll basically just buy into their combat. Matthew Stotts left the session. I'm not sure what prompted that. He may have spun out again or something. Keenan with an interesting interpretation of that corner. And Julian Lozano getting himself out of the way again. Having repaired his vehicle. A bad corner for Keenan Kimber. These three are in a blanket now. Going into Ascari is possibly gonna... Oh, as Van Nistendorp runs Keenan off the road entirely. And now it is a duel between Van Nistendorp and Knickel as they head down toward the Ascari chicane. Lozano is disconnected. after a forgettable day for him. They almost went too wide through the whole section. Interesting corner exit from AJ is going to leave him relevant in this duel. Oh, Keenan Kimber is still very much there, and he has a huge run going towards Perepalka, but he backs out of that and waits for another chance. He doesn't want to take two at once, even though I think if he played his cards right, he could be in second right now, to be perfectly honest. There's nothing really going on back here. A few seconds between each of those three cars, so we'll just keep the camera here. Van Oostendorp having to resort to the escape road, but I think he definitely gained time from that, but actually no he didn't, because Keenan Kimber has the advantage going into turn 2. Albeit for a very brief moment in advantage. This is going to be sketchy going into the second chicane. AJ brakes passively, Van Oostendorp drives aggressively, and I think just smacked into Kimber, but I'm not mistaken. He may have just missed it himself on his own accord. So now AJ tries around the outside of the Lesmos following that impact. Cannot make it stick. That is very hard to do on a car that doesn't have a ton of downforce. You need to be in like an F1 or F2 car to manage that. What he can manage is getting alongside Van Oostendorp again as we head back down toward the Ascari chicane. Keenan, watching in the distance, probably the safest place to be right about now, is in the distance. As AJ ekes ahead through the first part of Ascari. And he gets a really good exit as well, so I believe he may have saved his hide there as we go down the last straightaway before the end of the lap. Anderson is very passive under brakes. AJ goes wide under braking. Van Oostendorp did just about the same thing, so if AJ hadn't done that, he probably would be in the junkyard right now. And we're gonna go under a blanket again, down towards turn 1. AJ completely boxed in, he has no place to go, so we're just down to what Van Oostendorp and Kimber do heading into the chicane. Kimber brakes very passively again, and AJ will just cut back into third. They are in a conga line as they head through Curva Grande. And I don't think we're going to have any major developments as we head to the next chicane. Maybe we will. Keenan swerving, looking for an opportunity. Travis, everyone missing the braking zone a little bit. Keenan, by making the corner correctly, has found himself at a disadvantage. Go figure. It's all kind of evened out now. And it's once again going to be a bit of a conga line as we head down towards Ascari. AJ got a little ways ahead of everybody else, but not by enough, I don't think. I mean, it's never enough. Everyone's very unsteady through the Ascari section. I'm really surprised we haven't seen more Sebastian Vettels through there just yet. As I think we are at 4 minutes left in the race, we'll just about manage 3 more laps in today's event. And Oostendorp is attached to Keenan Kimber's rear wing. I think they're bump drafting, it almost looked like, but Keenan's very passively under brakes. Just pretty much lets that go. Keenan may be relying on these two to mess around, and he'll take advantage that way, which usually a solid strategy, but at some point you will have to put your foot down and assert yourself if you're going to take the places. They're not going to be given to you all the time. Trust me, I'd know. Yeah, right now is not that time, though. This is the time you just need to sit back, grab some popcorn, and watch Keenan. as AJ about spins after a little bit of contact with Travis. Travis has to cut but lets the other two go by. So AJ returns to second place. A bit rough on the exit of the first Lesmo. Not quite in the danger zone though. Nothing really doing there. Not worth much looking at, so we'll return to the battle as Keenan thought about a look. You can't keep doing that. At some point you will have to go for that. AJ very loose through a scar. It's a good thing he didn't do that actually, or else Keenan would be in the barriers. Hasn't quite put AJ out of contention for second, but it's not looking pretty unless these two do something silly, going into the Parabolica or into the first chicane. And well, this road's kind of wide, so doing something silly is a bit of an accomplishment through Parabolica. But Travis pretty far away from the other two as we return to the start-finish line once again. Interesting, like, brake signaling from Keenan, because he always brakes really early, but that allows him to get exits like that. Because he's very precise through the chicane, because he's at a slower speed when he gets there, which means he can weasel his way through the corner better than anybody else on the course. AJ with double slipstream is going to insert himself into the scenario, and I expect, nope, AJ is going to brake the earliest. Keenan is going to be one going for it, and neither one really make the chicane, because that's just kind of how this race has gone. However, Keenan slowed down to give time back, and Van Oostendorp did not. Interesting ruling on Travis, and I mean, I can't exactly update if it happens after the race, but in my opinion, he's been a little bit sketchy this evening, as far as those escape road usages go. And Neil's doing with some lap traffic ahead, but one of them seems to have gotten completely off the course. Lots of dust being kicked into the air by these three duelists as we head down at a Parabolica to begin what will be the final lap of this race. It's all a procession as we head towards the first chicane. That's probably the safest thing. Keenan a little more edgy on the brakes, him having lost some time to dealing with that lap traffic, but ultimately he's not under any real threat right now. Keenan is sort of there, but he's not going to be able to do anything into this chicane. It'll have to be reserved for Ascari or the last turn in a desperation attempt. Everyone takes this business as usual. The lapped car over there gets clear of the course. AJ's going to go for it through the Lesmos, and Keenan puts up pretty much no resistance. The sand will put up resistance, though. I think I personally like AJ's chances at the moment. Maybe not. Travis is defending the inside, but he's not even there yet, so preemptive for no apparent reason. Came with an unusual line through Ascari. That's going to pretty much reserve him to fourth unless we get a wreck. And a weird exit through Ascari, I think, means that Travis Van Oostendorp is locked up second place. Last corner, Travis misses completely. That's heartbreaking. He's into the barrier. That's going to be second place for AJ. And a pretty easy victory for Liam O'Neill at the Monza event. Keenan Kimber will manage to survive for a podium following Travis Van Oostendorp's disastrous final corner. We got a bit of a battle for 5th as well, but that's going to get dissipated pretty quickly. As Seth Rawls, in his first ARC event since probably 2019, will come home in 5th place. As there's a backwards Ferrari at the start-finish line. And Seth commits death. Oh my lord, we've got a crash. Colton Irving will come 7th and attempt to assassinate the yellow car. The 102 will finish in 8th, and Jake Scarborough 9th. And the last running vehicle at the end of the race was Sean Cosley in 10th. So that's going to do it for the ARC Ferrari Challenge today. And I believe the next race should be next week, same time at San Marino, Imola, for more of the same, hopefully. We don't do podium interviews because I'm not a very quizzical type when it comes to that. So, plus the party systems kind of screwed that up. So yeah, see you folks in whatever the next broadcast is, which may be Saturday at 4 Eastern, when I will be also broadcasting the opening round of the ARC Formula 1 Championship at, I assume to be Australia or possibly Bahrain. I don't know.